So this is a quick visit to the New York City Transit Museum in downtown Brooklyn. The museum is in an old subway station, the Court Street subway station, which was at one time a terminus of the line. The track's been rerouted, so it doesn't use this station anymore. So it became unused, and I believe in the 70s it turned into the Transit Museum. And the MTA keeps an example of nearly every subway car that they have starting in the 70s, but the cars themselves date back to around 1900, or the oldest. So here you can actually see the tower, which is an underground tower, but you can see an adjacent line. You can actually see the lights light up as the trains come by. I'm not going to talk through this whole video. I just did a quick walk through looking at everything, so you can see some of the cars are quite old, and have rattan seats, and other cars are newer. You can kind of see the evolution of the New York City subway cars on the different lines. As you can see, this museum is very popular with children. All of the cars are operable. They occasionally take them out and around the subway system. It's fun to ride them, especially around the end of the year, the last couple weeks of the year. They run them usually in Midtown, and it's cool because you can just be on the subway platform waiting for a regular train to show up, and a very old train shows up instead. These three cars are the oldest in the museum. Brooklyn Rapid Transit. These cars were actually built originally to be hauled by steam engines, so they predate electrification of the subway line. So they're really cool. I've gotten to ride them out in Rockaway's area. It is really neat to look in all the old cars and see some are built of wood, and some have fans on the ceiling and incandescent light bulbs, and others have fluorescents. It's neat to see the changes over time. I believe this car is a generator car. It has a electric electricity generator inside. I think that's right. It's either that or a pump car. I'm pretty sure it's a generator car. And then the next piece of equipment is actually not from the subway. It's from the Long Island Railroad. Is a caboose, a cupola-less caboose. So it's small, low enough that it could actually fit through the subway tunnels. And behind it is a steeple cab that was used to shift cars around. I believe technically it is the oldest vehicle in the museum. They used it for work trains and to build the subway system. And then behind it is a GE, I believe it's a 40 ton switcher, an end cab 40-ton switcher. They still have newer versions of these engines in work train service. Not the steeple cab, but the GE. I see them if I stay out late enough, and they'll be working work trains at night on the system all over. It's a little depressing to see a car that you remember riding being in a museum. But these were the cars that were running on the A train when I first moved to New York City in 2001. I remember their orange fiberglass seats fondly. Yeah, these are BMT standards. A very nice car. Very cool cars. Oh, I forgot to mention that all of the cars, the advertising areas above the windows and by the doors, they all have vintage advertisements that would have been on the cars when the cars were in service. So it's neat to look at those as well. You can see contemporary advertisements from the time that the cars were in operation. And the cars from 2001 have some Dr. Zizmore ads, which are pretty cool. If you live in New York, you remember seeing those everywhere, all over the subway lines. Okay, this model has some very personal meaning and memory for me. This model was originally at the Smithsonian in the transportation hall, probably dating back to the 70s. I grew up in the DC area and spent a lot of time in the transportation hall looking at the Southern PS4, Pacific, and the other engines there. But this diorama is an O-scale diorama of New York elevated trains in about the 1870s and 80s. So it has two Forney steam engines pulling trains on the elevated lines, and one of the stations is a cutaway station, so you can see the inside. The whole model is about 12 feet long and maybe 8 feet wide, maybe. It's a very memorable model. I remember seeing it when I was little and through high school, and then it disappeared when they remodeled the hall, and I had no idea where it went. And then I visited here, this museum, the Transit Museum, a couple years ago, and here it was. I was pleasantly surprised and happy that it was still around. A nice model for one from the 70s in O scale too, so close to my heart, this model. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, leave a like or a comment. I'll walk through this room of 1/32 scale trolleys from all over the New York City area. One man took it on himself to model all the different types of trolleys that ran in New York City, and this is the collection that came to the New York Transit Museum. If you get a chance, it is worth visiting this museum. It's in downtown Brooklyn. I will see you next time for the next adventure.
Stop. Please stop.